What's up,
How you
guys?
doing, man? How you doing? Look at you.
How
So,
you guys doing, man?
Leif, I've done no introduction on you for the show. Jimmy doesn't know anything about you, and your timing. The timing for this is actually perfect because I talked to you a couple days ago about coming out on. Tell
Yeah.
Jimmy how we met each other.
So, man, I can't. I mean, refresh me, bro, because it's been a while, right?
Well, out in California, I booked Leif for emotional support. Um, so I brought him so Leif is famous for being on. He was on Survivor series. What season were you on Survivor?
Season 24.
Yeah. And are you still doing the same thing when I met you?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Still
So
staying busy with the web stuff.
so people book Leaf as a well. Explain what you do. You can do it better than I can.
I mean, yeah, like what? Recently, I just did a big ordeal with Mr. Beast. Y'all ever
Oh
heard of
yeah,
him?
of course. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber. Yeah, yeah. So just recently did that with where we had a bunch of we had to get a bunch of little people to do that for something that he has coming up recently or soon, and just lots of entertainment stuff. Just from movies to commercials to.
It,
I've been doing a lot of YouTube stuff though lately, so it's been nice.
that's where the
How's
money
it
is. Do you know how
been?
big Mr. Beast is? Do you
Yeah,
understand?
no, yeah, I mean, just one of his YouTubes gets like 50 million views. It's crazy.
Only on one of his loser YouTube videos will get 50 million views in English, and then he has it bifurcated in every language across the world. So a
Yeah,
average video gets about 100 million views minimum,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
basically bigger than the Super Bowl for
yeah.
every video that the guy does across the
That's
world.
crazy. That's crazy.
What did he have you doing? So Leaf is little person is what most people book you for, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I actually hired you as my emotional support dwarf.
Yeah.
Is what we
I remember now.
yes. So when he brought you on, what did he have you do? Because that's a huge thing.
Uh, I know we had to sign
Oh, so
agreement.
it's not out
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, it's not out yet, but
Yeah, they put out like one thing a month usually. Like
yeah,
yeah, dude, that's huge for you. Congratulations. That's big. That's literally like a Super Bowl ad for you. And
yeah,
with
no, yeah, I'm super excited because it's like because I know they hired me. It was by what the heck, hold on, it was by the what are they called? It was by Phase. Have you heard of Phase Clan?
it
So it's like
sounds familiar, but it could just be a generic sort of term for me. Like I
yeah,
don't know.
so it's like a huge video gamers, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they hired me to welcome and be this one guy's mini me for his uh 4 year with the company, and so everything went so well that they wanted me to come back, and then they hit me up like 2 days later, and they're like, hey, we're doing this huge thing with Mr. Beast, and we need 10 little people for this ordeal. I'm like, whoa, and they needed it in like 2 days, so it was like it was gotta grind it out, and come up
Did
with
you
that.
have the network? You're pretty well connected,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could have came up. I could probably come up with 20 little people, but yeah, it all worked out pretty well, you know.
So when I hung out with you, I talked to you about a couple things. First of all, being a little person, if for those out there that are like, oh, cute little people, no, it's a superpower. It's a fucking superpower. And I've never seen anything like it. Girls flock. There's no Ferrari, there's no special shirt, there's no shoes that can bring girls over faster. I mean, they want to touch you. They want to be touched by you. Now, is your girl in the home with you? By the way, is she hearing this shit? I'm sure she knows. Okay, I was gonna say I need you to shut the fuck up. You could be like,
She
shut the fuck up.
understands.
Shut up.
She understands. She
Yeah,
understands.
she does. But Jimmy, I've never seen anything like it in my. I mean, we talked about it. I'd seen it, but I've never seen anything like they were attract. Women wanted to make out with him just arbitrarily. And
Wow.
not just one. And I'm not talking about ugly girls. You know, these are solid 6.5s to 7s in California. These aren't, which is like, you know,
That's like a 10 in New England.
I was going to say in Wisconsin, that's like a 9.8. You know, in different parts of the country, you know, it's a much higher score. So tell some stories that, I mean, anything that stands out, Leif, because first of all, you're a fucking brilliant guy. You're very, very intelligent. You're smart, but
Thank
you're
you.
also very gifted. I've seen you in the field.
Thank you.
Talk about what you've encountered, some of the crazy shit that's happened that you're allowed to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, it's like I was just telling one of my this other job what I did for this one thing where I was hired as a for a girl's bachelorette party, and I was Harry Potter, and we I was stripping for them while we were going while we were in a party bus while we were driving across the Golden Gate Bridge. So that was pretty wild.
Nobody
Then
nobody saw your dancing and jumped off, right? It was quality.
no, no, they didn't want to leave. They wanted me to stay, but
When you started, how was your dancing?
so I mean I have re the reason why I mean they love what I do and they don't know exactly how far or what I do with my act. So that's where I love the surprise of what I do for a lot of those jobs because it's something way out of the ordinary, you know, where I'm not like this stripper and you know,
Yeah.
I'm still doing all that, but it's also I like to bring in the funny and fun and silly aspect to it, you know, so it's a whole nother level to add to it all, you know, so it's not just stripper, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, but at the same time, you meet so many interesting people too. You and I have now known each other for about almost 3.5, 4 years. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, I'm not the most interesting, but there are others out there too. You meet all sorts of people. How many people do you actually keep in touch with?
I mean, I did a thing for Kristen Dunst.
Yeah,
I a lot of my clientele like just they want me back, you know. So it's like I I love that, and because it's like, and they always tell me that you made my day, you made my month, you made
yeah.
my year, you made my life, you know. So I mean that right there just makes me feel really good for what I do, and I love what I do, and it's a lot of fun, you know, because it's like most people hate their jobs, and so I I actually really love my job.
So yeah, it made my trip because and again, you do this all the time. For me, I mean, I got Leaf. I brought Leaf in, and uh, Jimmy, I was with Pete West and all those guys,
Yeah.
and they had no idea he was coming. It was for the Virginia Tech Duke game, and I knew Virginia Tech was going to lose. So I brought him in and I said, this is for emotional support. And they were like, do you guys know each other? I'm like, yeah, we know each other. We're friends. They had no idea what was going on. We just hung out the
Yeah.
whole night. And at the end of the next morning, they're like, so what the fuck was the deal? Like, is that like an old friend of yours? I was like, no, I hired him. And they're like, oh, and they just thought that was the greatest fucking thing. And it really is. For those of you out there that need anything, emotional support, you know, fun, cheer, joy, anything great in the world, highly recommend. This is the best bang for the buck you can possibly get, you know, just in general. You know, there are some weird people out there that are afraid of little people. And I
Yeah.
find those people to be sad and pathetic. They need to reach out and hug, you know, a little
Well,
person.
it's actually funny because I got a great story for that too.
Okay, go for
So a bunch of high school kids, they they all pooled their money together just to purchase my experience, my expertise just to fuck with their teacher, because he was actually really afraid of little people. So they hired me just to go fuck with their teacher.
What happened when you walked in?
Oh, he was terrified.
You should have come in clown makeup too.
Oh,
It would
man,
have been
yeah,
the double face. People are afraid of clowns. So walk us through what happened. So is this at the
okay,
school?
yeah, this is at the school during school time for their class, and I come in hot, and he's trying to run away from me, and I'm sitting at his desk in his chair, and he's all the way across the other side of the room, and I keep running, I keep chasing him around the whole classroom, and man, and all the classmates were just dying. They're just dying.
Keep those kids' names. Those kids are going to be very, very wealthy. I promise you, those kids are on the right path. You can fuck with a teacher like that. That's the single greatest thing. How's your little sibling doing? Is it your daughter, right?
Yeah, she's doing good. She's doing good. She's 2.5 now, so they grow up fast, so it's just
Well,
day by day, day by
let me
day.
tell you what my daughter did yesterday to me. Okay, Jimmy doesn't know the story. So she stayed up all night. She's had, she's having some kidney issues or whatever. So we've been dealing with all sorts of medical tests, but she's in pain. So she stayed up all night. So I was up all night. My wife was up all night. About 6 a.m, we tap out. We go to sleep. She jumps up out of bed. She draws her own bath. She pulls up the stopper. She never turns off the water. So when we wake up, the house is flooded. And when I say flooded, the roof fell in on my car in the garage.
Wow.
So I mean fucking flooded. The whole house is flooded. It's a shame. It's actually a miracle nobody got killed, because there were hot electricity things on the floor. I'm coming out and pulling her out. We probably had about I have a little suction thing for wet vac, but that didn't do shit. We're talking about thousands of gallons of water in your house.
Wow.
And when I come down, I've got biblical footage of this shit where I come downstairs in my house, and I've literally got the ceiling is dripping to the point. Now, this is not the first time, Jimmy. I just told you the story about the stripper pole accident
Right.
last time we were on. So ironically, I tell this story about the stripper pole putting 23,000 gallons into my place, and water's flying everywhere. That was horrifying, and then literally within that's the last time we did a show.
Yeah.
The next time we do a show, it's happened again. The only difference is last time I was a renter. This time I actually own the house. So I've got to figure out all the ways to handle it. But what's crazy though is I was happy about it. I was like, yes, this is a pain in the ass, and yes, this is not what you want to deal with with family or with kids, but it could have been so much worse. I mean, my daughter could have been killed. If I'd been electrocuted, my wife and my son would have also come out and been like, "Are you okay? Are you?" It could have been a horrific.
You always have to look at the best things in life, like
you have to. And the carpets that got ruined, they aren't hypoallergenic, so I can replace them with something that's much healthier for everybody.
Exactly.
To see how
Silver lining.
the silver lining. So you're here, even ironically, you're here for emotional support one more time. So how can people book you, Leif? I want to try to showcase you. First of all, it's literally the best money I've ever spent. But I want to showcase you. How can people get in touch with you to book you or anybody else?
People can. I mainly go off my gig salad, where which is not so little entertainment. So you can just find me there, or you can just look my
Not
name
so
up.
little entertainment.
Not so little entertainment, and it's Leif, right?
Yeah. Leif Manson.
The legend himself. I want to have you on consistently to update on your adventures, because you've seen so much, that even things, I had this thought the other day. My son and your daughter probably does the same. There's little games that they play that make them so happy.
Oh,
They aren't complex games. They're simple as hell.
no.
And I had my son sitting there laughing his ass off because I'm clapping and my wife's clapping. And I'm like, man, I remember a few years ago, I watched this stripper shoot a banana about 4 feet out of her pussy for distance. And I just sat there and went, that's interesting. I'm like, I wasn't even like, oh my God. I was like, this is banana on the road. Yeah. I mean, when you've seen so much shit, you lose a little bit of that joy that the child had.
Yeah, for sure.
It made me, and I can't even imagine how many. I mean, I spent one night with you, and I saw a little bit about what you go through, but each day is pretty amazing in its own regard. You're living a very charmed life.
I love my job.
But at some point too, you've got the flip side. Not everything's great. Not everything's perfect. But what you do have is a superpower, and sir, you keep on flying. I'm proud of you. I love you to pieces. When I'm out in San Diego, you're going to be amongst the first that I reach out to.
Well, thank you, baby. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Send my best to the family, and let's catch up consistently and keep those stories queued, because what might not be interesting to you is fantastic to the rest of us.
I got lots of them. So let me know. I need to write a book.
Good to meet you, Leif.
Thanks. Please do write that book. All right, brother. Have a good one. All right, bye.
Guys, take care.
I didn't do it.
You didn't do what?
I didn't drop the M word.
Oh, no, he actually prefers it. I didn't do it this time because I didn't know if, people change. It's been 3.5 years. He actually prefers the M word to dwarf and little person. I was like, really? Because I had him as my emotional support midget. And it was fucking fantastic because nobody knew.
We were halfway through the interview before I realized what you meant, because you could have read it a different way. I didn't even realize he was, because he, obviously.